Now we're on to the highlight of today's event, and that is our guest speaker, Mr. Mike Anderson, NSBC founder and CEO. And it's such a privilege to have him here with us today. I have learned so much from Mike. He walks the talk and he has an absolute passion for small business and for helping others. Mike, welcome to our Breakfast Connect stage.
Well, Leanne, good to be here. You know, the first one of the year, and you know that 2021 has arrived fairly quickly. And I think that many people around the world are happy that 2020 has gone, of course, except for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. But of course, you know, and we do know that it wasn't all doom and gloom for the SME sector. Yes, some sectors we know struggled, but the positivity and the resilience came out. And I think this year, I think that people are used to working in a different way. And I think that we have come out of the starting block in a better position than when we arrived into March last year. So I think that, you know, Leanne, you and I know both that we're positive about the year ahead. We've got an amazing lineup of activities, so it's going to be an exciting time.
Absolutely, Mike. And how would you say your experience of today's Breakfast Connect has been so far? What should people, you know, do when it comes to this platform? Because this has been, we've done it a few times now. So what would you advise people that are attending for the first time today?
Leanne, I don't know if you can remember in March when everything changed last year, you kind of like, we sat together and you said, Mike, I've got this great potential platform to change our physical networking into virtual networking. I mean, you were a little bit more optimistic than I was at that point. You know, I said, well, virtual networking, it can never be the same as physical networking. But what we've learned over the past year and 20 Breakfast Connects later on a virtual platform, the feedback that we get from many of our delegates is that it's far more successful for them than physical networking. And not only that, it's, you know, you can network with people all over the country and yes, across the globe. So you know, but you hit the right point there. It's imperative that this cannot be your last. You know, we know quite a few people who've attended every Breakfast Connect. The feedback from them is amazing. The amount of potential funders they've met, potential strategic alliances they've met, new customers that they've brought onto their books, new suppliers, new ideas, new ways of doing business. So like you say, and I'm looking at the chat line earlier on, there are some people who are struggling with their mic and their of course camcorder and these things. It's the first one is like that. You know, you're not jumping from table to table effectively. You're not updating your profile the way we should. And this gives a great starting point for the next one. And I can assure you, it just gets better and better. And it's one of the finest platforms this year to grow a bigger and more successful business, because it's about listening to others and thinking like a doctor and taking people's pain away and helping others. And that way you're going to help yourself. So and today, again, a great event, you know, a good turnout, and certainly we significantly over the months. And, you know, even when the pandemic leaves us one day, Leanne, is that we're not going to leave Breakfast Connect in a virtual environment. We will probably have both a physical and a virtual environment because this has been so successful.
Absolutely, Mike. So today you are talking about how to make 2021 a smashing success. And what is good about this year is at least we weren't as blindsided as we were last year. I think last year was a complete, it just shook everyone to such a degree. Whereas this year we know technology is the way forward. We have to adapt. We have to move. Mike, looking at making this year a success, it's always useful to look back at the past. And what would you say were the most valuable lessons you learned in 2020?
You know, Leanne, we were all at NSBC very positive about 2020. We had a positive approach. We didn't curl up in a corner and say, wow, this is going to be a bad year. So we changed, we adapted from the outset that this is going to be a great year. And what it did do, 2020 proved to be the most successful year for the NSBC in its past 12 years, because we made that choice up front. And what we did do, we adapted very quickly. We took risks. We seized opportunities. You know, we used to do hundreds of physical events a year, because that's the nature of what we do. Overnight, we changed everything to virtual, to online, our webinar Wednesdays, our Breakfast Connects, the business show. The list goes on, because we knew that it was risky, but we had no choice. We adapted, we changed. So I think what 2020 did for us, it accelerated our attitude towards change, and to seize opportunities. So we seized new opportunities, we adapted and we changed, and we wanted that. And I think that's the imperative part of looking ahead for this year. I mean, we spoke offline earlier. Every day we spend at least 10 to 15 minutes thinking, what more can we do today to make our online presence better? Or our email signature is great? Or our email is good? Is my back wall great? And as you can see, Leanne, you can see my back wall, and thanks to you, you designed it. And so every day, something little that can make us better off than we are. Because let's be frank, remote working in any format is here to stay forever. It might be a combination of remote working and physical and office working, but in many aspects, remote working will never leave us. So what we need to do is really to be able to use remote working in the most professional way that we can. So technology, the technology out there for us to be better off in our online meetings and our webinars and Breakfast Connect is not expensive. Because of the mass purchases last year, technology has come down greatly. So we can have an incredible amount of solutions at hand, so that we can be perceived to be super professional to our potential clients, to suppliers, to whoever it may be. And I think that's what 2020 has taught us. Small business can now compete with any size business. A one-man show can compete better than a 5,000-man show. And I think that's what 2020 has taught us to do. And right now, this is what we need to do. We need to address that, bring on these technologies so that we can compete in an environment. Because here again, e-commerce, the boom hasn't started yet. As we can see what happened to Jeff Bezos last year, they boomed, the Microsoft boomed, the SAP's boomed. Why? It's because they're in that space and they provide technology solutions. So very importantly is that we can choose 2021 to be the best year ever. And then we can move on to achieve that. And of course, what we also must understand is that mobile communication, that device we have, is the way of the future. Just about all forms of communication will be coming from a mobile device. So very importantly, learn about what solutions are out there, how you can better communicate with your market, how you can better communicate with your staff within your organization. So mobile technology is here to stay. E-commerce is here. We're moving into a cashless society more than ever before. How does my business really seize a cashless environment? E-commerce, we know now, cashless society, mobile technology, online presence. So these are the things that we can do, and we can do quickly. Remember, as a business owner, we can change everything today. In a large corporate environment, they take possibly years to adapt, but we can adapt from today. And that's the exciting space that we live in as an SME, is that right today, by Monday morning, we can make the change to be able to compete in an environment that can compete with any business, because we must seize opportunities. We mustn't be afraid of risk. Yes, we must take calculated risk, but let's not procrastinate and delay seizing opportunities, because now's the time to do that so that we can move ahead. And we have to remain positive. We have to surround ourselves with the people who think big. We must get rid of negative people in our environment. We've got to challenge that status quo. Like I said earlier in that video up front, challenge the status quo, swim upstream, walk across the road, do things differently, and of course, remain positive. And that's kind of the message that we need to bring in. And I know many of our guests today have already adapted and adopted these things, but we are reminding ourselves on how we can be more successful. And it's a fact, I've written a few articles around this. We will, in general, for most, we will waste 5 years of the next 15 years. So we need to do that. And we've also, Leanne, we've also got to start saying no to almost everything. We must also stop meeting for no reasons. We've got, the most successful entrepreneurs around the world. They've looked at this hard. Many now have cut their meeting times down to 15 minutes. The beginning of last year, the average was 30 minutes. Now they've cut that down to 15 minutes. Stop meeting for things that you don't need. Focus what's important in your life, not what's urgent. So we can start focusing on the important stuff to reduce our meeting times so that we can speed up our success. In that way, we can drive a more successful business.
Wow, Mark, that is gold. So much of what you said is extremely valuable, and you are 100% about the point you made about mindset, about your attitude, and about positivity. As the leaders in your businesses, that filters through to your team. So if you are negative at the top, the entire team will be negative. And when the team is negative, then you are less likely to come up with great solutions. You're less likely to seize those opportunities that you spoke of, Mike. So yes, that's extremely valuable. I think as humans, we also, we shy away from adversity. We don't like adversity. But if you look at adversity with different eyes, adversity is what will push you to come up with things you've never thought that you would. It has pushed us all to move into the digital environment a lot quicker and to make use of amazing opportunities. Thank you, Mike. A lot of what you said are the key emerging trends that we see now in 2021. And now the next thing I want to ask you, and I think it's extremely vital when a business has been hit with adversity. Often sales is the first thing that drops, and especially in these lockdown periods. And we know that sales is the lifeblood of every business. How can businesses put themselves in a stronger position to boost sales?
Yeah, Leanne, just before I answer that question, I just want to add further on my previous point. I've been involved in a number of global discussions with business leaders around the world over the past few months. And it's no secret out there that some of the biggest companies of the future have been born in the pandemic. I mean, you and I both know when we announced the champions at the awards in November last year, we've seen incredible success stories over the past year, where under normal circumstances, business would struggle. But if you look at the new big startups of the world, I mean, these are the future Microsofts, the future Amazons, the future Facebooks of the world. They've started in the last 12 months. Why? It's because people have changed their mindset and they are choosing to become the most successful. And they're going to do whatever they need to do to achieve their success. An economic downturn won't matter. A pandemic won't matter. A crisis in any form won't matter. These mercurial entrepreneurs have chosen to go big, and they're going to do whatever they need to do that. Coming to your question there, Leanne, sales, as we know, Leanne, in our 12 consecutive national surveys, the biggest thing or the biggest element or the biggest activity that any business owner needs more than anything else is sales. Sales is the lifeblood, as you said, of our business. If you have an abundance of sales, cash will flow. And if cash flows, you can fix anything. You can hire the best people, you can have the best marketing solutions, you can adopt the greatest technology, you can do anything. But without sales that will drive into cash flow, you cannot. So it stands alone. If you look at the graph, 95% in all our surveys is leaning towards sales and marketing. But the big question is, for many business owners and entrepreneurs, is that how do I go out there? How do I find big customers? How do I conclude big deals? And how do I close those deals and build top line? And it comes down to a few elements. Those hard days of selling, like I did many years ago when I used to sell Encyclopedia Britannica door to door. Those were the days of hard selling. Those hard selling days have ended. Now if you think about this, we've got to think like a doctor this year and the year beyond. If you think like a doctor and start taking people's pain away, you will build a customer base. I mean, you think about this, Leanne. Have you ever gone to a doctor, you sat down, and as you sat down, the doctor says to you, Leanne, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to prescribe this medication. I'd like to check you next week into a theater so we can operate and have a look at that problem. No. They sit attentively with empathy. for at least 15, 20 minutes to assess the problem, to understand what your problem is, and to see how he can or she can take that pain away. And in that way, you will alleviate those problems and you'll come out, of course, well. And we as salespeople or business owners or entrepreneurs, we've got to start doing that. We've got to start learning to smash our customers' expectations. You know what's quite sad, if you think about it? So many people go out there to build a new customer base when they're not taking care of their existing customers. We've got to find ways to smash our customers' expectations. You know, last year when we were hosting the Small Business Friday Roadshow, I traveled around the country, as you know, and I talk about this incredible, for me, a life-changing experience, because I never used that terminology, smash your customers' expectations. But I visited this little coffee shop in Simonstown called the Severe, and as I walked into this coffee shop, the gentleman, the waiter or the host, he walked up to me, he says, you know what, so may I ask your name? I said, my name's Mike. He says, today I'm going to smash all your expectations. Well, I was pretty blown about that. I never heard that before. As I sat down, he says to me, Mike, are you comfortable? Is your family comfortable? I said, I'm very comfortable, thank you. He said, here's a menu. Please take a look. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Before 2 minutes, he was back. And he said, Mike, what can I serve you? I said, I like this and this and this. Got the order from the rest of the team. And at the end of that, he came to me and said, did I smash your expectations? And will you come back? I said, of course. And you know, every time I travel there often. And I make a point of, it's quite far out of town, going towards Cape Point, towards Simonstown. It's not on your given track. And I will go back there, and I must have told about 500 people about my expectations. And those 500 people have told another 500 each. And that's the kind of thing we need to do as business owners. The pandemic taught us to take special care of our existing customers and, of course, smash these expectations. So we've got to think like a doctor. We've got to look after our existing customers. We've got to do the numbers. We must keep our activity going. You know, I will go to the hot hours technique. Between 8:30 and 11:30, if you look at the most successful sales professionals in the world, the ultimate rainmakers, they work on that 3-hour technique in the morning. And for 3 hours, they have conversations, good conversations with potential clients, with prospects. And they turn those conversations into deals by listening to these potential prospects, understanding what their problems are, and then showing those prospects how they can take away their problems and build a bigger and more successful business. And that's what we need to do. More empathy, more professionalism, okay, thinking like the doctor, and that's how we can grow a bigger and more successful business through 2021. And of course, that brings me, and I'll talk about it more just now, and that the number one challenge is going to be taken care of by the NSBC this year. Sales in Indaba, as you know, is about to kick off on the 18th of this month. And Sales in Indaba is about educating and inspiring business owners and entrepreneurs on how to go out there and find big customers, do big deals, and grow top line quickly. And over the year, in the first or the second Thursday of every month, I'll be interviewing the world's greatest rainmakers. And together we're going to educate and inspire business owners and entrepreneurs on, first of all, how to boost their customer base and how to smash their customers' expectations.
Excellent, Mike. I know the NSBC entire team is super excited about Sales in Indaba. It's such a need, and it's just such a wonderful experience. I'll give you a little more info about that when we conclude. We'll give you the link in the chat, and we've even got a little sneak peek video of what you can expect for our first Sales in Indaba, which is going to be held on the 18th of February. So it's right around the corner. Mike, incredible advice. When it comes to managing businesses and navigating a business through 2021, do you have any other tips on how businesses can operate more effectively?
Yes, you know, covering the points about professionalizing your online presence and adopting the new technologies, thinking like a doctor, driving sales. the big thing is, you know, these are the times where many of us are working remotely and we're not in touch with the people around us, our core team. You know, the team in your business, you're only as good as your talent and your team. And, you know, we have to stay close to our team. We have to listen to our team. You know, we can only grow our business based on the input that we give collectively. Don't try and run your business on your own. Drive your business together with your team. Get ideas from your team. So right now, your talent is the very reason why you'll get to where you want to be. And of course, for many of us out there in the hospitality sectors and of course the tourism sectors, which have been hit the most, we've got to remain positive. We cannot curl up in that corner. We've got to seize new ways of doing things. Yes, we do know some businesses just cannot change because that's where they are. But the light of the tunnel is going to come and it's going to end and you will come out stronger. Remember, us as entrepreneurs employ 63% of the working population. By 2030, the SME sector will employ 90% of the working population. So we are the backbone of our economy. We are the engines of our society. So hang in there. You're an important part of our economy and you are the future of our country. So hang in there, but work closely with your team. Remember, don't lose a customer. Do whatever you can to lose a customer. Sometimes it's okay if you lose a sale, but it's not okay if you lose a customer. So my advice to all of us is really sit at the drawing board now, sit with the team, look at all your existing customers, phone them, welcome them to 221, and you can tell them that Sir or Mike or Dave, this year I'm going to do everything that I can to smash your expectations. So keep your customers, find new ways of finding new ones, thinking like that, Doctor. A bit of repetition, Leanne, from our previous points, but I can't emphasize how this is important. It comes down to a few key elements of what it's going to take us to get to where we want to be. And importantly, keep going. Yes, I write that book every year, Never Surrender. If we keep moving and we never give up, we will always arrive at where we want to be. And that's what we have to adopt and we have to maintain every day.
Brilliant, Mike. Incredibly valuable information there. Just so all of you know, I know that's a lot to take in, and each piece is something that you can implement in your businesses. We are recording this webinar, and all those who are attending will receive a link to that replay so that you can just go through it again and listen to these incredible, valuable tips. Mike, lastly, and just to finish off our chat today, the NSBC has some very exciting events coming up. So you've alluded to one, which is Sales in Daba, but next week is Webinar Wednesday. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Leanne, I'm truly excited about next Wednesday, Webinar Wednesday. You know that money right now for every business is imperative. You know, we do know last year that only 6% of SMEs who applied for relief funding got it, and 94% didn't get it. It didn't work out. So funding cash flow or finding capital is right now, like finding sales, is just about the same at the top of the pile. So we're very excited to host a Webinar Wednesday next week, and I will be having a discussion and a Q&A session with the founder of Profit Share Partners, Andrew Marin, and the Managing Director of Hot 919, of course, Lloyd Mudderay. And together, we're going to show how SMEs can get access or part access to 100 million Rand in capital. Now, Andrew of Profit Share Partners have won many global awards recent times. And it's about getting capital to fund purchase orders, to fund cash flow, to grow your business. And it's about getting capital quickly without that tedious red tape in place. So I must urge all our guests this morning to register. It's completely complimentary. It's free of charge. Our highly inspirational and more inspirational but meaningful engagement of what you all need to do to access capital right now for your business so that you can fund growth or for whatever reason that you need capital. So please register. It's going to be awe-inspiring, and I'm very, very excited about that. But then again, the following Thursday on the 18th, now what's important about Sales in Indaba is two things. First of all, I'll be interviewing on a Q&A session, a global icon, Mark Keating, the founder and CEO of Sales Guru. It's not only inspiring, but the points are vital, what you need to go now and go out there and find big customers. And again, for the 55th time, on how to smash customers' expectations. But our sponsors have allowed us, for this event only, that the tickets are completely complimentary. So for 1 hour, it's a must-attend event. It's a live webcast. And here again, two addresses. You can go to salesindaba.com, or of course you can go to salesindaba.co.za. Get your ticket, not only for Webinar Wednesday next Wednesday, but for Sales in Indaba the following Thursday. It's going to be great. And something else important, this is not an event, Leanne, but it's an important strategy on behalf of leading global brands and local brands. They've allowed us now to invite SMEs on the move to seize premium membership to the NSBC. We like to call it Digital One campaign. It's Africa's #1 digital marketing campaign, a 365-day experience. This is an independently valued opportunity that exceeds 150,000 Rand, but because of our sponsors, the premium membership attached to Digital One is 100% sponsored. The only fee that is there is the annual activation fee of 3,950 Rand, but the marketing opportunity is massive. And here again, if you want more information around this, on how to seize this opportunity, you can just pop an email to tamaya@nsbc.africa. Her email address will come up on the chat, tamaya@nsbc.africa. We're so grateful. This is where some of South Africa's, not only South Africa's, but global brands, like the Googles of the world, like the Vodacoms and the MTMs, and the list goes on. I don't want to leave anybody out. The Discoveries, the Netsstars. These people have come to the party so that we can give SMEs on the move that opportunity to grow a bigger and more successful business now. And all the benefits that are in place that are sponsored are based on 12 years of research, exactly what businesses need to do right now to grow a bigger and more successful business. So guys, if you want to look at the information, and then if you want to seize the opportunity, we'd love to invite you. But my function this morning is not to sell anything, it's to help SMEs out there, because we've got nothing to sell at the NSBC. We've just got everything here to help SMEs stay in business and to build a bigger and more successful business. So through the year, whether it's Breakfast Connect, whether it's a business show, whether it's Webinar Wednesday, whether it's at South African Small Business Awards, it's an action-packed year of incredible activities, and the show goes on. The pandemic will not stop us. And we just hope that soon a vaccine, or if we choose to have it or not, or there's another solution to the big problem, we hope it goes. And I just want to say to all our guests this morning, it's always an absolute privilege to talk to you, to listen to you, because it's people like you we can do what we do. And we spend a great deal of time listening to the challenges and to the needs of SME South Africa and Africa, so that we can put solutions on the table so that you guys can stay there and build a great business. And I thank you once again for this enormous opportunity. Thank you.
Mike, on behalf of everyone here, I would just like to thank you for those inspiring words. Your enthusiasm and passion is so tangible for small business. And that is what the NSBC is really about. It is really about lifting small businesses and giving them the tools they need to thrive, because in that way we make our communities better, our country better, and it's a wonderful privilege to be part of that too.